Jigsaw flicker in the moonlight's grin. Liza's laugh cut through the whispers thin. Jen held secrets too heavy to be told. Steve's shadow moved, but he stood cold.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Psycho Opinion. Tonight we are we've gotten past the brackets, which were a lot of fun, and we got a lot of feedback on that. So thank you guys for watching and listening to our March Madness brackets. That's definitely something I'd like to do again next year. It was a lot of fun. I think next year we're actually I'm already planning a really good one with some horror villains. So something to look forward to, and please stay subscribed and stay tuned because there's going to be a lot of fun things coming up. Tonight we are actually going to be doing another kind of movie discussion. It's a little bit of an older movie, but I feel like it's definitely one that deserves a discussion. In my opinion, it's a great movie, and the movie that we're going to be talking about is The Cabin in the Woods. So The Cabin in the Woods, if you haven't seen it, there will be spoilers here because, I don't really like to hold back. But, it's kind of your typical good-looking group of kids go in, this cabin and, the horror begins. But this movie has some really cool and interesting twists that kind of change it all up. I thought it was really good. It kind of plays off of a lot of those tropes with the stereotypical stoner and the jock and the innocent girl and the, kind of the slutty girl. It's a lot of fun. It's a really fun movie. I don't know if my co-host here got a chance to look at it, but a little bit of the stats on this one. This one's impressive. It's got a 7 on IMDb, a 92 on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 91 on Just Watch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well
So
deserved.
it's got some.
If you're a horror movie past the 60s, you're doing something to be in the 90s on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not very kind from that standpoint. But you're 100% right. I mean, I remember the first time that I watched this movie, I was kind of, for the first few minutes, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I knew it was a horror movie, but it didn't feel like it. And it almost set up like Varsity Blues type of, which I didn't watch either, but I kind of guessing that might have been what it was like. But yeah,
I'm guilty of liking Varsity Blues. So.
all right then. But it just, I didn't know what I was watching for quite some time until they actually got to the cabin, and then I was like, okay, I'm starting to see where this is going, and then it all changed from there too. So they did a great job in, as you said, Jake, kind of playing off, especially in the beginning, all of those horror tropes and making kind of a mockery of them. So your Tucker and Dale versus Evil type of comedy horror type of
Yeah.
of movie, and it's one of my favorites for sure.
Well, the one thing I want to say right away on that is that I think that this is another one of those movies that Jen was saying that she likes so much, or I hope Jen agrees, maybe she doesn't, but the comedy and horror is balanced very well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it's
I do
like
agree.
it's funny and it's entertaining, but you have your horror moments, and they do a lot of the horror tropes. Like I said, if you haven't seen this, a little bit more to give to you. So these guys end up in this cabin, and there's actually this whole subplot. Well, I mean, I think that they might even be the subplot. There's two plots really going on here, and that's that they have some guys that are apparently trying to appease the gods, the ancient ones, if you will. I think is what they refer to them as. So every country, I guess, is supposed to once a year bring people together, and they're supposed to basically on their own free will pick kind of like their own horror device to kill them to appease the ancient ones. So I want to say that I think that the humorous part, we had Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford who were playing the two guys in The Office there. One of them was in Step Brothers as the
Which I just watched.
father.
Oh yeah. Love that guy.
And yeah, he's great. And then if anybody's a fan of the old 80s movies, Bradley Whitford, he was kind of good at being like the jerk. I think he was a jerk in like was it Pretty in Pink? It was one of those 80s movies.
I don't think it was Pretty in Pink.
Some
That
kind
was
of
James
wonderful.
Spader.
Some kind of wonderful. He was in one of those. I remember he was the jerky
remember him
guy.
being
Maybe he
that
was the
either.
jerky guy in Adventures in Babysitting. It
Oh.
doesn't matter.
Hey,
Adventures
I
in
think
Babysitting?
I think it was Adventures in Babysitting. I think that's right.
Okay.
I think that's right.
Okay, so he was the jerky guy there, and he was in some movies in the 80s. He was kind of outside, but with the Brat Pack kind of thing going on. and he's funny too. He was great. The two of them together, great chemistry, great comedic chemistry. And of course, Chris Hemsworth has become huge.
Yeah.
You know, he was in this movie kind of before I think he really became huge. I think that was one of the first movies I had seen him in.
Same.
And you know, he played the tough guy. But it was the movie's a lot of fun. So they get to pick. They go to the basement and there's all these relics and they pick one and it brings about what their story is going to be. I thought that was so interesting. I thought that was like really cool. The basement thing kind of reminded me of Evil Dead. It was a little Evil Deadish there for a little while, in my opinion.
Well, you look at the camper that they drove out there, and that's like what the hills have eyes type of thing or something
Yeah.
like that. So, I mean, right out of the gate from scene one, outside of the office portion where they're talking about, the hell was it, like baby gates or safety gates or something like that, or
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah. Safety
I mean,
safety locks.
safety locks or something.
On
Yeah,
the cabinet.
yeah, that was like instantly wiped away with the title coming up and all the screaming and everything, and then you're like, what the hell is this? And then you go to the house and the kids are all getting ready, high school kids or young college people or whatever, getting ready to go on a trip. And so a lot of this stuff was prepped because I looked into it a little bit more. A lot of the stuff was prepped even before their trip. Like the girl who ended up playing I guess what we would call the horror, if you will, in the movie, if it goes along with the horror tropes.
So that was Jules, played
Jules.
by Anna Hutchinson.
That's right. She ended up putting like hair care product in her hair or something, which had some sort of effect on her brain. So, and you notice that throughout, that even in the beginning, like Hemsworth, he was an intelligent guy, the stoner with the big old coffee mug. I mean, all of them seemed to be pretty intelligent people until they got to the cabin, and then they're pumping in, gas and other different things to try to virtually dumb down and stupefy these people to be able to get to manipulate them in a fashion to make this all happen. So that was really cool to see that. And the decisions that usually are made that are so stupid, like let's separate, let's run into the back with all the chainsaws, or let's do all that sort of stuff. Those are typically written in by the director or the producer or whatever as just a stupid kid making a stupid thing. But in this movie, they are led to do that because they're forced to do it unknowing. So that was kind of a neat little write-in on how they made that all happen to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely enjoyed that, and kind of it's funny because that part you're talking about in particular, they actually had a better idea, and then they walked in the room that the gas was pouring into, and then he's like, "Wait a second, let's not stay together." And that was pretty funny, I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
But Jen, what were your thoughts on this one?
Well, so I wanted to say I did think it was kind of cool that they had the stoner guy, like he was still intelligent, because apparently like whatever they had used to like treat the pot that he was smoking didn't work or something, so he still remained intelligent throughout most of the movie. So I thought
paranoid but intelligent.
Yeah.
It's like his paranoia came to life.
The more, because they doped him up pretty good. I mean, he was reading like kids' books, drooling on himself for a minute.
Yeah.
And then, but the more he smoked, the more he kind of got that out of his system. So he was the only guy that was, had head on his shoulders throughout it all.
Right.
But yeah, and one point I wanted to bring up about him too, because I'd heard about him in the past. I've never really seen him much. That guy's loaded. Like he's worth like almost $300 million
in real life.
Yes,
he's rich. Okay.
He made
his name is Fran Kranz.
Yeah, he made. I think he made like $100 million over the last year in producing and making movies and different things, and he's made a lot of very lucrative financial decisions with stocks, and he's got like a burger place and everything else. And another funny thing,
he's probably invested in GameStop.
He could have been, or he sold all of his Blockbuster stocks or whatever. But and another funny thing too, because I really wanted to kind of dive into this a little bit, because everybody watches a movie at face value, but after you're done, you're kind of move on to something else. But with this one, I kind of wanted to revisit some of the nuance of it,
Mm.
and a little bit of the details of how it was made, the characters, um, the actors and actresses and things. And that's how I found out about him. And also, um, there is several scenes in that movie where you can tell the guy's pretty well put together. I mean, he was uh, probably a very similar size to like what Hemsworth was in that movie, muscular wise, 6 pack, abs, everything else. But they put him in baggy clothes, so he looked like
Like
Shaggy
Shaggy.
from Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't look like an imposing threat other than just a stoner. Uh,
Yeah.
Oh,
and so that was
that's
kind of a
interesting.
neat thing that the director did to kind of throw him into baggy clothes. But
Yeah.
Smart. It worked.
He was my favorite part of the movie. The stoner guy
Really?
is just the best. Yeah, because he's like comic relief, but also like really intelligent. Um, and I really like that mix. I mean, who doesn't? What girl doesn't like that? Like sense of humor and personality. He's got both, and intelligence. Yeah.
Um, yeah, well, it was Beards for a little while, but I guess those have always been winners. Um, if we're gonna say who our favorites are, I mean, I said it right off the bat, man. Those guys in the office they killed me the whole movie. I
They're
love those
kind of
guys.
jerks, but
They were jerks, but they were
yeah,
hilarious. I mean, they were so funny. That was where I got most of my comic relief. I thought that every time they were on, there was something that I was like, or giggle.
in
It
fact, they
it
had
was
like an
good.
office pool going for who was going to
yeah,
come out of the ground first, or who was going to be the first group
like
to kill everybody or whatever. But
yeah,
Yeah, and the one guy wanted a merman, which was
yeah.
pretty
He
funny.
really
right,
wanted
So
that merman. Well, he got it, kinda.
yeah,
he got it in the end. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's something else before we go too far because I don't want to forget to say this. But the thing that's so cool about this movie, and it's almost kind of cool that they didn't do this, right? But this movie is set up for 6 million sequels. It is. It just is. I mean, or prequels, I guess, or whatever. Because there's so many cool monsters. There's so many cool, there's hundreds of cool monsters and ghosts and demons and stuff that they have,
Yeah.
in
And
all
killer
those
unicorns.
elevators.
yeah.
Yeah, killer unicorns, and they had a werewolf, and there was things
There's
that looked
some
like they're from
weird
13
bat.
Ghosts.
Yes. Oh, it did remind
The
me a little of
Yeah,
13
there was a
Ghosts.
guy
Yeah.
with saw blades in his head that kind of had like a pinhead
Kind of like Pinhead,
ball,
yeah.
and I mean, there's so much cool shit, and they could have done a ton with that, but I almost like the fact that they didn't, because it's like, they didn't cash grab, they didn't take it too far or anything. I thought that was actually kind of cool that it stands alone, but it's just it's great because it's so balanced. It makes fun of horror movies, but it's a good horror movie.
Yeah.
And that's so weird because a lot of times when they make fun of a horror movie, it's like it becomes corny or cheesy, and it's like
Mm.
I just it's so unique to me in those ways.
Right. No, it's very easy to fail at that. It's a horror, a horror. That's what we should call it. In fact,
Horror-y. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm coining that right now, a horror. Uh, if you're going to tackle something like that, more times than not, the ones that I have seen, they fail. They lean way too far comedy or just miss the mark altogether, or just a crappy horror movie.
Yeah.
And this one again was, in my opinion, one of the best of that niche within the genre. Um, and like you had stated, with all of the monsters, that's always nice too. I mean, you've got so much going on, and I will say this though too, for a horror movie, especially a slasher or if you want to call it that, um, it was damn near 45 minutes to an hour before anybody even died. Like
Yeah.
it took a long time for anything to start happening, and then boy did it ever after that. So
Well, that's that character development that Jen loves so much. Well, we all love, but it's one of Jen's tops, and it should be because it's definitely important.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, they did a great job developing those characters, and you know what I kind of wish here, guys? I wish that technology was so right now that when I watch this movie, I wanted to like have an option in the opening menu where I could pick what tried to kill them.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, I don't know about
I
you
know what
guys,
you
but I
mean.
want to see
Yeah.
this movie. I want to see this movie 1,000 times with like each one of those things. Like when you see the large
Oh
bat, it's like,
yeah.
man, I wonder how that would go down. I
I
wonder
wanna
what
I
would
wanna
happen
s-
if they were attacked by large bats or
I
a
wanna
large
see
bat. Like,
it
how would that have
with the
been?
pinhead guy that
You
looks
know?
kind of like him. I want to see the sawhead or whatever he would be called.
Yeah. Like how would they get them all in the water? I guess he didn't need to be in the water, but the merman.
Or the
Like how would
merman,
that have
yeah.
played out? Like there's so many cool possibilities, and it's like I wish I could just like stop, like watch the movie and then be like, all right,
Yeah.
now I want to see it with this guy,
Like
you know? And
like a choose your own adventure, like those old books
yeah,
from back in the day.
yeah,
Love
And
those.
yeah.
when Blu-rays first came out too, didn't they have like a it wasn't in all of them, but there were some where you could select like a different like you'd get to a scene and you could select a different version of it. And
Yeah,
I forget what that was called, but that would be kind of cool for you to be able to, like Jake said, pick your poison. Who do you want to
This
definitely.
this movie would be the movie to do it with,
that would be
Yeah.
honestly. I mean,
that'd be
because
pretty
it's
cool.
just so cool.
Yeah.
There's just so much cool stuff. It's I would watch it 100 times, and I'd enjoy it probably every time with each like different villain.
Now I
Yeah.
did pause the scene, and we'll have to come back and kind of explain some of this because for people who haven't seen it, though, it's going to be kind of all over the place. But the elevator scene, where all the elevators open up and just all the creatures come out and start going ham. There
Mhm.
were times where I paused it just because there was so much going on, just because
Yeah.
I didn't want to miss something. Like in the back, you've got like somebody, you know, cut in half and being spun around like it's dancing type of thing, as a joke with blood splattering everywhere, and then big snakes eating somebody else, and then
Oh yeah, the big
like
snake.
just a lot of different things. But even within that, uh, what was the movie Cube? You guys seen
Cube,
that one?
yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very similar. I don't know if you could pick any one of them really, but that was kind of the same type of idea that all of those creatures were like in their own little cube that could either slide forward or go up or move or whatever because there were tons of them. There was several. I think I saw like a Freddy Krueger in there. I think I
Mm.
saw a uh, Mike Myers in there. So they did, although they might not have called it out in the credits and had them walk directly in front of the screen. There were little Easter eggs that they threw in to kind of pay homage to some of the classic uh, horror
Oh, you'd have
characters.
to. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many characters you'd even run out if you wanted that many. I mean,
yeah,
it's fantastic.
and then
None of
some of
them, I don't think any of them were exactly like those characters, though. I think they were all like slightly changed, for copyright purposes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
it
But
might be. I swear to God, I saw Freddy Krueger though, and
like exactly, like it looked just like him?
looked just like yeah.
Oh,
So
Mm.
I mean, it wasn't obviously the same actor, but they had a
right.
costume. I'd have to take another look, maybe screenshot or something. But and
Yeah,
then
I mean,
some,
I'll take a look and see if there was any of them in there, and if
and,
I find anything, I'll
and as
add
gory
it.
as the death scenes were, they were hilarious too. Like
Yeah.
some of
Yeah.
them were so funny. I mean, who would have saw Chris Hemsworth trying to jump a ravine and smash into a clear wall?
Yeah.
Like and then just skid down it
I
road
loved that
pizza.
part.
I mean,
It's like it kept lighting up every time
yeah,
he would hit that wall. It would just like light up.
I mean that was perfect. I mean, it was a great movie. There's a reason why it got a great score on Rotten Tomatoes.
But oddly enough, I don't feel like, I mean, maybe amongst certain people, but I really don't feel like this movie gets enough credit. I feel like it's a little underrated. I'm not gonna lie. I don't ever really hear people praising this movie as much as some
Well,
others.
it's a little older now. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people have forgotten about it, to be
It
honest.
is.
Well,
It
well,
is.
if you've seen it and forgotten about it,
15 years
rewatch
old now?
because it
Yeah,
was made in
11 or 12.
2012.
Yeah.
That's well. But
Almost
2012.
15 years old. Yeah.
it is the type of movie too that um, if you weren't sitting down on the couch at night with nothing else to do, you could potentially not give it enough time to me. If you might have sat there like, even though there was some good plot points and I thought they did a great job with the character development and kind of telling the story in the beginning and getting to that point with no real true action for like 45 minutes, I can see how somebody might give up on the movie sooner than maybe they should have.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I didn't. But like I said, I was quite flummoxed when I watched it to start with the first time.
Flummoxed.
That's right. Perplexed.
Flummoxed. Okay.
And all those other weird
Bewildered.
ones. There you go.
My man is bringing out the thesaurus tonight. Yeah, so also interestingly enough, I don't know if you guys care or not, but it's worthy of mentioning, I think. But Joss Whedon actually was a co-writer on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with Drew Goddard, who was the director, the budget was also $30 million, which honestly I felt like it would almost be a little bit more. But maybe that's also 2012 with inflation, probably like 45 today. So,
Sure.
because inflation just sucks that much
And-
recently. But
And I had not really drawn correlation or knew, but I think this was Goddard's like first real directorial type of
Ooh.
swing and hit. I know he did, or I believe he did World War Z, which is another movie I really, really like. And I know he wrote all of the Cloverfield things, which some are
Oh.
better than others, in my opinion. But I think that's kind of his directorial body of work. But yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that he was the correlation there. But
yeah, Cloverfield, World War Z, The Martian.
Martian, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are all the ones really, really kind of worth mentioning. There's not a whole lot there. It looks like maybe 14 films when you click on kind of his movies and shows there.
I think he's only
Um,
50. I mean, so he's a younger guy too. I mean, he's been doing it.
But he is 6'5". I just looked at him and that came up, so I thought I'd mention that. He's a tall feller.
That's cool.
He's a tall feller. Yeah, that's you know, he Spider-Man: Homecoming, he did that. So that's I haven't watched any of the Spider-Man movies, so I don't know, but it's interesting. Yeah, so I mean, you know, it's he did well with this.
Yeah.
I'm sure he made his money.
Yeah, it was a very original concept. I thought, like a original take on the, old cliches of horror movies. Like a really interesting direction, a different way to go, and the ending was really cool too. I thought.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, not just for the gore. Like I don't mean just the gory parts where all the monsters are coming out, because that was awesome. Don't get me wrong. I just mean like the end, like
Well, I also think if Rob was here, he would bring up his boner. I'm sure he had because Sigourney Weaver showed up at the end there.
oh yeah,
Yes.
So that was
Yep.
kind of cool too. You know, her being such a huge horror star, that was kind of fun to see her involved with the project.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I think that what really worked for me too, though, was that the two plots kind of coming together. The two plots being one plot, obviously, it's all one plot, but kind of the two things happening at once, I think, is what made this movie so special. Because I think had the movie literally been all about inside the office, it probably, well, I can guarantee it wouldn't have been as good.
yeah,
Had we taken away the office apocalypse scenario from the equation, I don't think it would have been as good. So, I mean, I think that what made it original and so interesting was that going on. Because it was like the horror tropes and the like comedy of the horror, but it was like in a bigger, they put it in a different box.
Right.
Yeah.
They wrapped it up differently for us, and that I think helps.
And the cast overall too. I mean, ended up killing it. I mean, like the guys in The Office, for example, like you said. I mean, I can't think of two other guys that might have done better. I mean, they were really fantastic. And maybe one of the other cool things about it too is everybody's seen the old let's go out and camp or let's go by the lake or you've got some guy with a chainsaw or a knife or whatever else, and it kind of is. It's kind of condensed. It's kind of like, well, this is you're watching out for that one person or that one creature or that one thing, and so for them to go out into a small little cabin, which secrets hide literally the you know, the balance of the world as you know it. You know, the outcome of what happens that night. Obviously, the rest of the other countries across the world had similar things, like Jake had stated, that um, had all had all come and gone. I mean, you saw, I think it was, was it Japan?
Japan.
Japan had like they paid homage to like Ring You or the Ring, and
Yeah, the girls were singing and
yeah,
turned the spirit into the happy frog.
yeah, like
Yeah.
so they were no longer scared of that. And then there was what's the other one too? They had like the took some notes. Let's see. Oh yeah, well in Japan they also had a Silent Hill reference too, and then
Oh, they did? I
yep,
must have missed that.
and then Stockholm
Oh,
had kind of like the thing was what they were doing when they were showing the different scenes where all of their
You were
efforts.
but this is when you were pausing it because
Yeah,
I didn't.
yeah.
oh,
Okay,
I
okay.
I was
paused.
gonna
I
say
paused a
'cause-
lot of times to kind of
Oh man,
see
I
what I
should have
was
done
missing.
that.
There's a lot of stuff going on. That's what's really cool
Yeah.
about it.
we missed a lot, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really a lot of things that they were in just brief moments, kind of showing, flexing their muscles and saying this is kind of just paying homage to this movie or this type of thing. But the fact that it was up to the United States to save the world by having this all go down because everybody else had
Mhm.
failed. So that's something that they have to do every year. Uh, just kind of a neat premise, a neat idea, something that's never been thought of before.
Yeah.
I only paused it once, and that was on the movie. So.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't even.
I paused the heck out of it after I watched it all the way through. So.
Yeah. But the no, that's awesome. That's a lot of cool. That's a lot of cool Easter eggs and stuff there. I'm actually feel like I want to go through and do that myself now.
Yeah, me too.
I may just do that. And there's one kind of definitely like elephant in the room of a question here that I want to kind of debate with you guys, and that's that. Do you feel? I don't know. I feel like I don't really understand. I guess I do. I guess they were just like humanity sucks or whatever. But I guess I really don't understand. I don't feel like their decision in the end was a good one. I was kind of like,
You don't think
I don't
so?
know,
I
like,
liked it because it was original.
they-
You don't see that
they,
very
like-
often.
they like the whole world got destroyed because of over like a stoner dude. That I mean, I don't know. Like, there's good in the world too. I mean, I don't know. I feel like she should have shot him. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
I don't feel like he was worth the world, and he was gonna die anyway.
Well, they're all gonna die.
Yeah,
Probably.
and us too. They made a decision for me, and I don't appreciate it.
Oh.
You'll get over it.
it's
I
just a
guess.
movie though.
Yeah.
It didn't really happen. So
Oh man, I didn't
But-
know we could all just be ghosts.
I mean, how else are you going to have a hand come out of the ground and take the cabin down with it without letting it go to the end? But, I mean, let's not forget, too, that all of these guys, although adrenaline's probably kicked in and burned off all the crap that was in them, all the decisions they were making up to that point were all chemically induced anyway. So they were all drugged to crap. So they weren't necessarily thinking. He was the only one that was actually thinking straight throughout the whole thing. So, or a good majority of it. So she
I know.
was.
I would have thought that her drugs would have worn off by then.
They
But maybe
probably would, but I mean, seeing all that death and the way that it happened, and I'm sure it would, it's easy to sit back and say this is what I would have done, but until you're there's a lot going on. But I understand why they did it. I mean, it's also to kind of stick it to the man too, and be like, you did this to us and forced us to go through all of this stuff. No, I'm not going to take your buyout.
Yeah.
I'm going to accept it. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, death sentence for everybody. But
I probably would have killed him.
yeah, I mean, I would have too. But
Yeah. But also, shit. But you know what? I think that they probably would have been screwed anyway, because come to think of it, I'm sure all of those creatures that got out probably would have gotten out of that complex as well
Yeah.
and been unleashed on the world,
For
or at least
sure,
the
yeah.
United States, because that's where they were in here. But I mean, I feel like they had enough stuff in there to probably wipe through quite a bit
Hmm.
before they were stopped, because I mean, once those things are all let out, I mean, who knows? I mean, it would have been tough. And that would be an interesting movie in itself, honestly, because it's like, even if you were like, the giant bat came to my house and I beat it, it's like, well, what are you gonna do now? Now, like, you're just gonna walk outside and there's gonna be like the Buckners, or you're gonna walk outside
Yeah.
and there's gonna be the merman, or giant snake. So it's like, you'd never, like, it'd be hard to survive any of that, because you'd literally just have to hide underground or something. And I don't know, because there'd be something else. There'd always be something. There's
Yeah.
just so many villains.
And there's so much to this movie that you could end it 100 different ways, and
Yeah.
somebody's not going to be pleased with one of them. So
And maybe that's the brilliance of it, is that
Yeah,
it's just so
it's not
simple.
it's not a cliched ending.
right,
It's not a cliched ending.
Yeah.
It's simple. There is no
Wow, I like it.
Yeah, there is no cash grabs. There is no sequels. I mean, I'm sitting here praising it for those things, but at the same time, I'm also doing it in my head. Like, I'm like, oh, you could do a movie about this, and a movie about that, a prequel about this, So there's a lot there, and they didn't grab at it. So good job, guys. You leave me wondering, always and forever. Appreciate it.
so they broke it up, I guess, into how many characters were there? There were 5 characters. And,
5 main characters,
five-
college kids.
exactly, 5 main characters. So you kind of had the stoner who plays like the role of the fool, if you will, with
I think they
Marty.
even called him the fool.
Yeah. They do call him the fool.
Then you've got your
Right.
classic, if you're talking about just the typical horror tropes that they follow, you always got that guy. You got that one guy who's the stoner, or the shaggy of the group, and then
Yeah.
you've got Hemsworth, which was Kurt, and he's the jock, the lughead, but he was also very well put. He wasn't a blunt force object in the beginning of the movie. You could
Yeah.
tell that these guys were all intelligent, so that was kind of
Mhm.
cool to be able to take that away from them throughout the movie. Then we had Dana, who ends up making the decision at the end. She was allegedly what you would consider the virgin, which was part of the whole thing. And I think, if I remember correctly, at the end, Sigourney Weaver's like, you got to use what you got. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't
Take
have
what
a
you can
virgin.
get.
Take what you can get. That's right.
Yeah.
Because I think she had a little thing with one of her professors, so she wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily.
She said that at the beginning.
That's right. And then Jules, the girl who ended up dying first. That's typically, how many times do you see scenes where people go out in the woods? Or is there a worse place out in the middle of the scary woods at night with the fog and everything else to throw down? And of course, the moment they do, she dies instantly.
Yeah.
So that kind of sets the whole chain in motion. And then somebody we really didn't talk about too much was Holden, who kind of was like the book smart guy, the nerd, if you will, I guess. And he
Didn't
ends
really
up,
look like a nerd, but I guess because he really wasn't in reality or whatever.
right, but just to play the role of that person.
Yeah.
He was probably the weakest link out of the whole group as far as how they tied into what they were trying to cast as that role. But and I forget how he died. I think he got like stabbed or something. While he was
Yeah.
there.
He was in
the
the
head,
truck or the camper or whatever and
That's
got
right.
stabbed. Yeah.
That's right.
in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Giant something.
Yeah.
In the middle of saying something. I forgot what he was saying, but he was in the middle of saying something.
It
Like,
was very
let's stick
much-
together or whatever he was
Yeah.
saying.
It's like, you're all I've got, and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Stake to the back of the head.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great movie, guys. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad we brought it back up again because it's one that I hadn't seen since damn near when it came out. So it's been a while.
I have a question. Because I didn't get like a super good look at it, and I know Steve was saying that he paused a lot of scenes during the movie. Do you remember when they're in the cabin and they're getting to their rooms, and the guy that's like book smart, the nerdy, I guess, guy, he finds this painting, and it's like, I think it's got like men and it's got like a bunch of dogs, and I want to say it might be like a lamb or something that they're slaughtering or killing or attacking. That was like a very disturbing painting.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that was part of the foreshadowing, like
yeah,
Mordecai. And that's another character that we didn't bring up. But Mordecai was great. I mean, he was your
it's a great name too.
stereotypical gas station trope.
Yeah,
Where he's saying all these creepy things and trying to discourage them from going to the cabin, and they still choose to go anyway, which is part of the thing because all this has to be by their own free will.
Mhm.
But he was kind of a funny character because I mean he that's characters in so many movies. Like, I mean, the Wrong Turn movie, for example, the first one,
Mhm.
Jen and I discussed, and he's also in. I mean, not that guy, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
That
That
character,
type
Sure.
of guy. Yeah.
yeah, the kind of old hillbilly gas station guy at the
Yeah.
single pump gas station. And I mean, they have that in so many movies. The Hills Have Eyes, things like
Yeah.
that. There's always that character, so that was kind of funny to me too.
And from those characters that Jake are alluding to, they're always so like, I mean, devout in what they believe in and what they're doing. Typically from either a satanic or just a ritualistic type of mindset. And so for him to call
Oh,
and,
I
and
love that. That was so
oh,
funny.
so
The
awesome.
conversation they were
But
on speakerphone.
Cleanse them. Cleanse the world of their ignorance and sin. Bathe them in the crimson of... Am I on speakerphone?
No, absolutely not. Speakerphone, no, I wouldn't do that.
Yes, I am. I can hear the echo.
am I on
That's a
speakerphone?
great
Yes.
part.
No,
That's a
you're
great
not on
part.
speakerphone. To take something so like powerful in the moment with him, the wheels are in spin. The yada yada yada. Am I on speakerphone? So it
It's
just
great.
once
No,
again
no.
take a scene like that that's starting to traject in a certain direction and then make light of it, kind of a joke.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah, this
What's Brian?
movie still holds up, I think, even though
Still
it's
holds up.
almost 15 years old, I guess. I think it still holds up.
Absolutely.
Well, 15 years old isn't that old. I mean,
Right.
considering some of the ones we talk about up here,
Mhm.
That's true.
those the Wrong Turn movies we were talking about were like early 2000s.
About 25
So
years
yeah,
old.
I don't know if they held up then either. So most of them,
Yeah, some of them, maybe not.
yeah, they didn't hold up at the time, so they're not holding up now. But yeah, but this movie is definitely worth a watch. I recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it. If you haven't seen it in a while, watch it again. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth a rewatch for sure.
I would suggest if you guys have time, at some point, no rush, of course, but yeah, hit the old pause
No,
button
do it
every
now.
once in a while. Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah, right now.
Stop.
Put that cigarette out, Jake.
After,
Go do it.
after you subscribe to the show and maybe hit that like button, go watch Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah. Let me know if I'm tripping or if Freddy Krueger and Mike Myers was in part in that movie hidden, because I think they were.
I think Steve be tripping.
And another thing
Yeah.
too, which was kind
He's
of funny.
smoking that bong.
You guys, no bong, no smoking. There was, and this was something that I was trying to think, like, what the heck is this? So they how they cut in on all of these glass cubes that
Yeah.
had housed all of these creatures, and there's like a woman in there, just kind of like, I'm like, what the heck is this? Then I thought to myself, wasn't there like Attack of the 50-foot woman or something way back in the, yeah, something like that. So I'm
Oh, there's a
assuming
really, really tall woman in there?
there's a huge woman inside one
Oh.
of those, and so I think that might have been what they were doing with that, because otherwise I have no clue.
Yeah.
But like I said, when they start showing all those cubes and like creatures coming out and moving, pause it and see what you can find. I bet you'd find a lot of stuff in there.
Hey, if you got time like Steve did, pause it because I'm really curious. I feel like I missed a lot now that he's talking about all this stuff. I feel like
Yeah.
I did not see any of this stuff. I feel like if there's a box with a giant woman in it, she must have been like cramped up
She
in
was.
there.
Yeah.
Because those boxes were not very big. Let us know if you saw anything interesting in there, or if you can confirm that Steve saw these things. I might try to find some when I'm editing, but it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. And let us know your opinion about this movie. Discussion going as per usual. we've really been enjoying getting feedback from some of the people that have been watching and listening to the show. And, let's keep talking about horror.
Absolutely. Let us know what you would have done different to end the movie. Would you let it all burn, or would you taken care of old Fran? What was his name again?
His name was Fran Kranz.
What was it? Marty?
Franz?
Oh, Marty in the movie. His
Marty,
name's
yeah, Marty.
Marty. But his
Yeah.
real name is Fran Kranz.
Must be short for like Francis or something.
Francis
Yeah.
Kranz.
Nice. Old Rich Francis.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's that. And thank you for watching. And we'll be back again real soon. So see you next time.
Jake saw a flicker in the moonlight's grin. Liza's laugh cut through the whispers thin. Jen held secrets too heavy to be told. Steve's shadow moved, but he stood cold. Rob heard voices from the forest deep. Sean's breath trembled like wolves in sleep. Together they walked where the ground would groan. A circle of friends, but never